Let's start from the beginning, shall we?
Hi, my name's Chris. I've moved nearly 200 miles away from home to spend the next 4 years of my life here at university. This is a vlog charting my life week by week as I progress through my new life.
This is just a fail.
Hiya! So what week is this probably now? It's week 9 or 10, I can't bloody remember now. Yeah. So it's nearly coming up to Christmas and everything is kind of like needing to be done all of a sudden. Got our band's first performance this Sunday on the 6th. And yeah, it's probably not going to be our best performance. I've still got to do a load of practicing. But anyways, the week as it's been so far. I'll start from Tuesday, obviously, because I had a review on last Monday, so there's no point repeating myself. So, Tuesday, got our film results back, which I was having a big old moan about because they basically said we're all shit. Nothing to really worry about, really. Got 50 out of 100, our group did, so it's a 2-2. It's not bad, but not overly brilliant. Other group, I think the highest mark was roughly about 56, 58, that kind of mark. I think barely scraping 2 1s was probably the best films there. But we're happy with 50%. We got really knocked down on the fact that our film didn't really have much of that's the word I'm looking for, pace. It didn't have any pace. But how can a tramp have pace? Unless it's like, what do you do, like a Born Identity kind of action-packed scene about a tramp. It doesn't really work. His life meanders from one day to another, and that's what we tried showing, so oh well, it's one of those things. I've got to work on a pitch for our next film, which we'll start filming literally just after Christmas. At the moment, I'm looking at a kind of a documentary kind of thing. Again, it's 3 minutes, and this time we do have sound. So yeah, my personal thing might be a documentary or a road trip-esque kind of thing. Trying to see how that all works out. Yeah, so that's next Monday. Joy of oh joys, standing in front of 160 people. Oh, well, my film is going to be about... God help me. Later on Tuesday we had band practice at 7 to 9, and that's what we got again this week. But last week it was kind of a disaster after another kind of thing. We lost our room because it got double booked, so we had to move into a smaller room, which is boiling hot. And then to top it off, I was just leaning over to pick up my keyboard and that, and knocked the power kill switch with my arse, and so we had to move into another smaller room. And then top it off, our singer didn't know where we were, so for the rest of the night we didn't have a singer. And actually we didn't have a drummer for most of the session, but then he did turn up because he was working, so yeah, that's excused. But dear. Wednesday, audio processing was a little bit boring, mostly because we're trying to work out about how my ideas that I've composed on here, over there, with my desk and everything, how my composition ideas are going to be sort of like fed into our combined project. Otherwise, as I said last week, I'm going to leave him up shit creek without a paddle if we don't find our way to incorporate him into it. Otherwise he's going to get toss all marks and I'm going to get loads, and it's just not going to be fair. So this week our main objectives for that are going to be sort of bouncing down some tracks from what I've done and use some Reason pads and the NNXT sampler, and possibly sort of put some sound effects, sirens, which I've downloaded off the internet. There's actually a little good website I found out for all that. Then later on it was instrument technology. It's just basically going over what we need to revise, and sort of just generally bulking up on the mathematical equations that we have to learn for that. So Thursday, the whole morning was just spent sleeping because I'm absolutely knackered. Was knackered. I'm not too bad anymore despite the weekend, and yeah, basically it was a lazy morning and a ridiculous afternoon of revision. I've come up with about 10 pages worth of notes in bullet point forms with little pictures and diagrams of everything to do with the equations. That's basically one of the equations that we have to do. Joy of our joys. I think that one is how to convert. Well, that's to work out how much you need to amplify something. So you've got an RMS root mean squared of a wave. That's how much you amplify the signal by to get it up to 0 dB, which is nominal decibels, blah de blah de blah. Too confusing. I could go on forever and a day about it. So Friday we had audio-visual technology, which 10 o'clock in the morning was not a particularly brilliant time to sort of like be looking at hex edit, which is probably the most complicated program ever devised. Well, it's quite simple in use, but hexadecimal numbers, ASCII down the side, I do not want to touch. It's just I can't understand the mathematics behind it, and that's the one thing I'm going to have to revise a lot on, because we have a presentation to the tutors to actually show that we actually understand the concept behind it all. So that's what we're assessed on. So hence the reason why I've got to revise a lot, because I don't know anything about it. I'm going to a catch-up session this week to help brush up on such skills, especially with Adobe Audition, which is like, it's awful. It's a bloody awful program. And then later on that day we had a band recording session booked till about 7 o'clock. However, again the phantom double booking happens again, and yet we kicked out at 5. So we only managed to get down a drum track and a few drum tracks and a guitar part, which isn't particularly brilliant, considering that now we're going to have to waste yet more rehearsal time dedicated to recording. We forgot our first performance on Sunday, which is like, oh, why? Why? For Pete's sake. So then later on that day I bugger off. Reason being is I need to get out of here. These rooms are, if you spend too long in them, they start becoming like a prison cell. It doesn't really help that Stafford Court actually has the aesthetical pleasureness of a prison. It is like looking at Wandsworth Prison in here. Breeze blocks, bleach white walls. It's just so uninspiring to actually be here. So getting out and about was just brilliant. So then the weekend, well, I get a text saying, kitchen's on fire. Urgently need to hear from you. I thought, hang on, this has got to be a bloody joke. And the reason being is because before I left, I said to the guys there, I'm going to leave, aren't I? And you're going to set the fucking kitchen on fire. And guess what happened? They bloody did. Here's some pictures to prove it. They set a sheet found on an 800-watt lamp, and boom, the whole thing went up in smoke. Apparently 2 fire engines had to come out and put out the fire and stuff like that. It's just like, oh my god. Everything's covered in ash. Everything was covered in ash. The walls are still blackened, and so is the ceiling. So I've had to wash up all my stuff and get rid of any open food that was actually still in my cupboard. Despite the fact it's on the other side of the room, ash still managed to get everywhere. It was just kind of shit scary for me coming back home on the M6, basically in the middle of all these traffic jams, because it was horrendous trying to get back. Especially didn't help with the monsoon weather we had last night. So, because my flat's right next to the kitchen, I was thinking, shit, all my synthesizers, my bed, and everything's gone. Ah! Because those synthesizers are basically my children, and I do not want them to be harmed in any way, shape, or form. But I can laugh about it now, because knowing the fact that this room is absolutely fine. Not even smoke damage, to be honest, because I thought it would actually go under the door and make everything smell. Hasn't really, which is kind of handy. So I'm going to leave it there. Perhaps I can predict the future, like I did this weekend, and I presume that I see you next weekend. Goodbye.